life inevitably confronts us with a universal truth. People come and go. We form bonds, create connections, and often tie our emotions to these relationships. But what happens when those ties are severed? How do we manage the emotional weight when someone no longer occupies the same space in our life? Or when we realize they've never shared the same depth of connection? You might wonder, how can I stop caring? Or is it possible to detach emotionally without losing a part of myself? This is where Stoicism, particularly the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, provides a guiding light. The Stoics were skilled at navigating human emotions, not by avoiding them, but by learning how to balance their influence on our lives. Emotional detachment isn't about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about reclaiming the ability to act with clarity and inner peace. In this video, I'll share 5 timeless Stoic principles on how to emotionally detach, using Marcus Aurelius's wisdom as our guide. This isn't just theory. It's practical advice designed to transform how you relate to yourself and others. Rule 1. Embrace the impermanence of life. Life is in constant flux, and relationships are no exception. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that everything is transient. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Emotional attachments often stem from our personal narratives about someone's importance in our lives. However, clinging to the illusion of permanence sets us up for disappointment. Whether through death, distance, or changing priorities, relationships evolve or end. The Stoic approach is to embrace this impermanence, which helps you appreciate the present moment without becoming enslaved by expectations. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. In the same way, attempting to control relationships often leads to emotional distress. Accepting impermanence enables you to cherish connections while they last and release the weight of what no longer serves you. In my experience, letting go of a decade-long friendship was painful, but liberating once I realized its natural course had ended. By embracing the fleeting nature of life, you shift your focus from what you cannot control to the beauty of the moment. This mindset fosters inner peace and reduces suffering when relationships inevitably change or dissolve. Letting go doesn't mean caring less. It means living with clarity and emotional freedom. Rule 2. Master your emotions through rational thought. Our emotions often feel overwhelming, but Stoics argue they're born from our thoughts, not the events themselves. Marcus Aurelius stated, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Emotional detachment begins with recognizing this truth. Emotions arise from how we interpret situations, not the situations themselves. For instance, after sending a heartfelt message that goes unanswered, you might feel anxious or hurt. These feelings often stem from speculative thoughts like, did I upset them? Or do they care about me? Instead, the Stoic response is to pause and assess the facts. The only truth is that they haven't responded. Anything beyond that is conjecture. By questioning your thoughts and reinterpreting situations, you regain control over your emotional state. This practice doesn't suppress emotions, but teaches you to channel them productively. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Choosing thoughts that reduce suffering allows you to manage emotional storms with resilience and clarity. Mastering emotions isn't about indifference. It's about transforming emotional reactions into deliberate responses. With practice, you build inner stability and learn to act with logic rather than react impulsively. Rule 3. Practice negative visualization. Negative visualization, a cornerstone of Stoic practice, involves imagining worst-case scenarios to prepare for life's inevitable losses. This exercise isn't about pessimism, but building emotional resilience. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do not disturb yourself by imagining the whole of life's troubles at once. Meet each calmly as it arises." For example, visualize life without someone you deeply care for, a partner, friend, or family member. Initially, This may feel uncomfortable or painful, but the practice reduces the shock if such a loss occurs. It shifts your focus from fear of loss to gratitude for the present. In my experience, imagining life without a close friend who was moving overseas helped me cope when it finally happened. By mentally rehearsing their absence, I wasn't paralyzed by grief, but was instead prepared and grounded. Negative visualization reminds us that loss is an inevitable part of life. Recognizing this truth not only diminishes fear, but also fosters appreciation for what you have. When you stop expecting permanence, you stop fearing its loss. This mindset doesn't harden your heart. It softens the blow of reality, allowing you to accept change with grace. Rule 4. Focus on what you can control. At the core of Stoicism lies the distinction between what we can and cannot control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Many emotional struggles arise from trying to control things beyond our influence, like other people's feelings or actions. Imagine being in a relationship where you constantly seek validation. You may exhaust yourself trying to gain affection, only to feel powerless when your efforts go unacknowledged. Stoicism teaches that you cannot control someone else's emotions, only your own actions and responses. By focusing solely on what's within your control, your thoughts, choices, and values, you liberate yourself from unnecessary suffering. Letting go of the desire to control others' behavior doesn't mean apathy. It means reclaiming your power. When you stop seeking external validation, you build emotional autonomy and resilience. This principle isn't about detachment from people, but from the need to control outcomes. When you focus on what you can influence, you shift from a state of helplessness to empowerment, creating a stable emotional foundation regardless of external circumstances. Rule 5. Reflect on the bigger picture. When overwhelmed by emotions, it's easy to lose perspective. Stoicism encourages zooming out to see the grander scheme. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Our fears and desires are fleeting moments in the vastness of time." Reflecting on the bigger picture helps you detach from immediate emotional turmoil. Consider a breakup that feels like the end of the world. By stepping back, you realize that this pain is temporary and a small part of your life's journey. Past experiences of loss and recovery show that time heals wounds and life continues. This broader perspective reminds you that no single person or event defines your existence. Relationships, while significant, are just one chapter in your story. Reflecting on this truth doesn't diminish their importance, but prevents them from overshadowing your overall well-being. Seeing life's transience fosters acceptance. You learn to appreciate the present moment without clinging to it. Emotional detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means recognizing the impermanence of life and finding peace in its natural flow. This perspective empowers you to navigate challenges with clarity and resilience. Embrace the Stoic path. Emotional detachment isn't about apathy. It's about finding freedom. By embracing impermanence, mastering your thoughts, and reflecting on life's bigger picture, you cultivate resilience. The next time you feel overwhelmed by an attachment, ask yourself, do I control my emotions, or do they control me? Emotional freedom awaits those who dare to let go.